very much for your film.
Thank you so much for bringing it.
I mean,
it's very moving and frightening for me.
In the focus is a famous filmmaker, played by a famous filmmaker, who is searching, the ideal monster. He is searching for an image of the uncanny. What is it that fascinates you about monsters, about monstrosity in paintings, or perhaps even not only in paintings?
I don't exactly know why, and I think that's exactly the reason why I'm fascinated. I can't put a word on it. I don't know. My first short film was called Monster, and then I did Monster number 2, and then I did Dawn of the Monsters, and then I don't know, I have a thing. I like them, I don't know, I think they're moving, I think they're beautiful, I think they're poetic, I think when I did my first short film I thought it was something very, very, very specific to like monsters. I thought it would be something that most people would dislike or reject, and then I found that people respond to monsters because they're usually creatures that have a sadness, affection in them, and tragedy in them, and a certain beauty to them. So when I thought it was really specific, I found out after a few films that it was maybe a little bit universal, that we all feel something monstrous in ourselves, and maybe we can relate to that. And this urge that I had to film certain paintings was not related to monsters at first, and I think I did basically what Jeanne Balibar says in the film. Very early in the film, she says, "So we're going to go to museums and see paintings that I like, and look and that I like you to see, and that I like myself to see too, and then we'll look for the monster inside, rather than think about the concept of monsters and then try to think of a painting that would illustrate that, which would be endless, I guess." So making the film was more. It was exactly what she says in the film.
I mean, your main character is responding to monsters as well. He's kind of, as an observer, there's kind of a transformation taking place because, he is getting these red stains, these red spots are, he's like, he's transformed. How did this idea come up?
I think it was from the very beginning, even before the idea of painting and before everything. I was reading a magazine called Art Press in France, and it was a special issue on Bertrand Bonello, on the film On War. And the cover of the magazine was the back of Guillaume Depardieu playing in the film with I think it was the head of a donkey on his head, but you could only see the ears and the nose, and it sort of looked like a weird hand of a monster, I don't know, and his back was a beautiful naked back. Somehow I put this monster's hand on his back, and I don't know, something happened. I was in the train and I thought, the back, I want to film the back. I don't know why. And so for me, this rash on the back was more like maybe the print of a hand, or I don't know. Like maybe there's this scene of a nightmare with the young actress appearing in his bedroom. Maybe, I don't know, at night monsters visit you and leave a stain on your back. I don't know.
I mean, speaking of Bonello, was it for you an obvious choice to have him as the main character? Did you have to persuade him?
It was not even a choice. It was just him. I made this film because I wanted to spend time with him. And making movies is spending time with people, and that's the wonderful part of it. So it was not even a choice. it could have been his choice not to do it, but it wasn't even my choice. It was just, I want. You know, it's very instinctive, very, it's an urge. So, and then he was curious enough and generous enough and wonderful enough to not only to do it when he said yes to a short film, to something that was focused on paintings only. Then over the course of 3 years of shooting the film, it became fiction, completely something else. And then he ended up running naked in the street. And he did all that, and he never asked a question.
Yeah, one more question of me before handing over to the audience. Your film, for me, it displays, it conveys a very playful and free kind of storytelling, with a lot of unexpected twists and a lot of different layers, and yeah, it's very playful and free. You even take the risk to exchange one of the main actresses, the art historian. In the first half of the film, it's Jeanne Barraud, and in the second half of the film, it's Geraldine Hayas. Yeah, perhaps you could comment on, because this is a risky thing to do, but it works. And
yeah, somehow.
Perhaps you could elaborate on that.
It was there from the beginning. The fact that the actress would change in the middle. And as curious as it seemed, I never, before this film was finished, I never realized that I did almost the same in my first feature. Because there's also a transformation in the character of Mathieu Amalric. And so it was there from the beginning with different actresses. And then I dropped it, and then it came back. But for me, the monsters are obviously in the paintings, a little bit on his back, but it's also a film about women, at least his relationship to women and to, I really wanted to have a lot of actresses, a lot of female characters, sister, mother, producer, actress, historian, and sometimes someone can be multiple, I guess, and your perception changes. It's a little bit irrational, but I think when you do a film like that, you don't want to think too much, because if you start thinking too much, you just don't do it, because it's completely logical, and everybody will say you can't do that. So you don't think too much. So I'm also very how can I say that? I made this film, but I watch it like an audience. I really discover things that I don't even know were there, because I wrote a lot, but we discussed a lot, especially during the editing. That was very long, but I try to never go towards analyzing things or justifying things.
Are there any questions or comments, contributions to that? Yeah, a mic is right behind you.
Hi, I'd like to ask you a little bit, scene in the dinner party. There's almost well, not really, almost like a documentary quality to it, where it seems like, you know, at the end of a shooting day, everyone would get together and just eat and drink and play music. And at one point, you know, and in a film where you have a film director playing a film director who has his own name, I mean, you are mixing the fantastic with the very, you know, verite. But was that something you're going for in that scene of the dinner, where it just looked like you just taking a camera when, you know, the shooting had stopped, and just looking at what the feeling was like actually making the project?
Some of it was improvisation, and some of it was written. It was a very, very long day, because we had a lot of shots to do, a lot of actors. Jean Price was very sick that day, so we couldn't complete the shooting of the